Hi guys, Al Smith here. Today we're going to discuss the basic building block roadmap. And what do we mean by basic building blocks? Well, there's a number of topic areas that don't fit really well into the discussion of the bidding systems and so forth. There are techniques and so forth that you need to be aware of, and they're extremely useful in understanding and applying before you start learning conventions. Okay, and we'll go through these, the topics that we have covered. And the goal is to make sure that while I'm trying to communicate with you, that we have a common understanding of these techniques and how they're used in creating a foundation to help you play better bridge. All right, now let's start with the first one. The first one is understanding that the goal of playing a hand of bridge is to get the best score, not making the contract to get the best score. So if you can bid one suit higher, let's say 3 spades over 3 hearts, and go down 2, you'll get a minus 100 points in duplicate scoring. And if you let them make 2 hearts, they will get 110. Letting them have only 100 points versus 110 is the goal. The goal is to get the best score. The second topic is understanding there's a vast difference in the amount of information available depending on what seat you're sitting in. The dealer is going to bid first. The dealer has the least amount of information available to him or her. They can only see their hand. They have no knowledge about what the other 3 players have. Conversely, the person in 4th seat has a lot more information available as to what the other players have. Understanding the differences in the amount of information, the type of information available, is a critical building block in terms of understanding the bidding, and then also using that information in the play of the hand and in defense. The third area is types of points. There are 3 types of points that we use: high card points, length points, and distribution points. Knowing when to use each type of point is critical in the bidding system. It also then allows you to better assess and determine what your opponents have. As we discussed in topic number 3, we use high card points. Now, one of the things we all need to recognize is that a single king, and it's easy to recognize, is not worth as much as a king that is guarded by 1 card or 2 other cards. Because if you have a singleton and somebody plays the ace, you have to play the king, and that king cannot possibly take a trick because it's dead meat. Okay, however, if it's guarded by a lower card, you can play the lower card, and that king is preserved as a winner if somebody else takes a trick. So you can see there's a great difference in the strength of a card depending on whether it's guarded or unguarded. In this mini lesson, we explain how to make those adjustments. The next is a follow-on to number 4, and that's after every bid, you should revalue your hand, okay, based upon what the opponent bid or your partner bid, because that can either cause you to upgrade your hand or downgrade your hand. The next is called quick tricks. What quick tricks do is they give you a way of quantitatively assessing the number of tricks that your hand is going to be able to probably take, independent of roughing and other characteristics. Okay, and what we do is we use this metric in combination with other rules and rules to determine whether we have are strong enough to make a certain bid, like an opening bid. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. The next area is sure tricks. And don't get sure tricks confused with quick tricks, even though they're pretty much the same. Okay, with respect to sure tricks, it's the mechanism the declarer uses to make an accurate declare play hand. A lot of text and stuff on the internet will say, in certain situations, count winners, and others count losers. That's all bunk. Count sure tricks. Okay, and when the declarer counts sure tricks, he's combining the values of the declarer's hand with the dummy's hand to determine how many tricks they can take without giving up the lead to the opponents, the defenders, those evil defenders. And what that allows is for the declarer to make a determination of how many tricks he or she needs to develop, which then makes it easy to prioritize the different alternative approaches and choose the best path to make the contract. The next is a mechanism for as a first step in what we call using a losing trick count system. Okay, what this does is an easy technique to count your number of losers and then ergo the number of winners in your hand. Number 9 is called the rule of 22. And this is a rule that we use to determine whether we can make an opening bid in different seats in different situations. What it does is combine a required number of quick tricks with the number of adjusted high card points and the length of the 2 longest suits to give us the capability of identifying those hands that we should open and those hands that we should not open. The rule of 15 is similar to the rule of 22, but has a different goal. The goal of the rule of 15 is to make sure we can control the auction so that in 3rd and 4th seat, we don't open up a mediocre hand just to have the opponents enter the auction with an overcall, find a fit, and then make the contract when we could have passed and the opponents would have gotten 0, and by making the contract they get a positive score. So the underlying goal here is controlling the auction. The 11th area is just to make note that all singleton and voids are not created equal. If you have a 5-3 fit, a 4-4 fit in a suit, you're going to count the values of a singleton and a void using one set of values. If you have a fit of 6-2 or 7-1, you're going to adjust the values that you give to the singleton or void based upon the number of trump that you have. This keeps you from overvaluing that singleton or void when you don't have 3+ cards of support in the trump suit. The 12th area is one of the areas that I love. Okay, I love playing mind games on the opponents. Now, the rules of bridge say that you're not allowed to make faces and do this and do that and so forth. You can't do these overt things that you do in poker, but you are allowed to use obstruction. You're allowed to interfere with the opponents by using misdirection, by using deception, and even out and out lying, as long as your partner doesn't know you're lying. Okay, and this is really important attribute of the game or aspect of the game. Remember, back to 3.01, your goal is to get the best score. If you're fighting a war or a battle and you make a feint to the left and then attack from the right, and that becomes the winning move, all's fair in love and war. The same is true in bridge as well in checkers as in chess or any other game. Okay, so you're going to want to use the tools at your disposal. Now, a lot of people really don't like that aspect of the game because they would like you to wear a red coat and march in a straight line. 3-13 is really an important concept. Okay, it's called the 2, 3, 4 losing trick count system. Okay, and what it does for you, it allows you to quantify the level that you can safely bid to, or you can force your partner to safely bid to, based upon the contents of your hand and vulnerability. Okay, this is the only technique that I've encountered that allows you to incorporate vulnerability into your bidding system to determine what level you can safely bid to, especially with shape-based hands. Area number 14 is what we call the anatomy of convention. And all conventions fall into one of really 3 different forms. Okay, a 1-step, a 2-step, or a 3-step. And it's based upon the amount of information that you're conveying back and forth between the partners. Now, for example, a Q bid or lead directing Q bid says, hey, partner, lead this bid, lead this suit. Okay, it's a 1-step. Nothing more needs to be said. Stamen is a 2-step. When you bid 2 clubs, you're asking your partner to bid a major. Then later, you're going to tell them whether you have a fit or not. Leventhal is an example of a 3-step. Okay, and there are overt and covert conventions, which makes things even a little bit more interesting. And just describe the form and the format of these so you understand and can recognize this both in terms of when you're bidding, your partner is bidding, and when your opponent's bidding. And the last area is one that plagued me for years. Okay, my partner would double, and I go, is that double up for penalty or for takeout? Okay, and this is the determination is based upon the sequence of bids and where that double occurs. And there's one other aspect you got to remember. All doubles are cooperative. Even if your partner makes a takeout double, you have the right to convert it to a penalty double. And if your partner makes a penalty double, you have the right to convert it from penalty away from penalty by making a bid, especially if you know something your partner doesn't know. For example, you lied about what you had. All right, that concludes this lesson on the basic bidding block roadmap. I hope it's helpful and it allows you to guide your activities in terms of figuring out what you want to study when in what sequence. Have a great day.